Welcome back to Frightening Frauen with Tyler and Lee. I'm sorry for that intermission because we are two chatty Cathys, but here's the other half for you. Enjoy.
I'm
Uh,
really bad at watching movies. Like I watch shows like I consumed the first season of Interview with a Vampire yesterday. Just I was doing that's what I was doing with when I was doing the collaging
mhm.
was that tells you how long it took me to do the collaging
They're
because I
so
watched the
good
entire
though.
but I was like so I hated the movies like passionately hated the interviews because I read the books
Mhm.
way before the movies came out. I was basically a purist and I felt like the movies could have been so much better if they had focused on the actual story because she
Mhm.
builds these rich worlds with
Anne
all of
Rice is
this like
amazing.
yeah, like this passion and
Was.
history and detail and you know and I like and the movies didn't have any of it. They just had big name stars that didn't even act that well in the movies. They were just shit. Like
Kristen
absolute
Dunst.
yeah. It was just very Americanized bleh.
Mhm.
And so I saw that they did the series, which I hadn't even heard about, and I went,
She
well, it
started
has
working on it before she died, and she had a big
I
hand.
didn't know she died.
Oh, she died. Sorry.
I
Her
had no
son is
idea.
helping. So her son, who worked with her on a lot of her works at the end, is working on the show.
That's cool. He's
She
he's a pretty good author too.
Yeah, she wrote her parts of the show, and her what she wanted long before the show came out, and she was in the process of helping cast when she passed.
The
uh
thing that
yeah.
sold me on it was Grey Worm was in it from Game of Thrones. Like that was
Yeah,
one of the few characters I liked in the show. Because I didn't like Game of Thrones very much. I know you
did
guys
you
can be like,
watch it all?
what do you like? Yeah. I only watched it because my friend was an extra. Like I was never gonna watch. I'm not that into fantasy stuff, and it just sounded like
was
it didn't
wasn't your
sound
friend a White Walker? Is that what you said?
um he was a Black Crow.
Okay, okay, I knew it
And a
was
couple he
something.
was in a bunch of different scenes as different but like never because they blur if you look they blur the extras so you never really get to see them um but I watched it for him and the thing is I had read these book series by different authors that were written before those books were written that had the same premises and so I like that's why I never got into the books because I went well I've already read that and then the TV show came out and I was like, people are gonna be all like oh super excited about it because D&D is kind of popular now. And like, I just like, kind of like this attitude about it. And then my friend's like, well, it's by season two, I've been an extra in it, you should watch it. Okay, I'm gonna look for the dork and you know, then I
Yeah,
just got kind of sucked into watching it. Like, okay, I've watched two seasons, I might as well finish
I
the
gotta
rest.
find
But
out what happens now.
yeah, so but I crafted through it. I didn't kept myself busy. But but I really like Grey Worm, like that whole story
Hmm.
art. So I saw he was in it, the vampire, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And it's like it's better. It's more Anne Rice. It
Good.
has more of the story, more of the passion. There's like um a little more of the history, but I feel like they're building up to having more of that history than, in later seasons. So I'm not mad at it.
She
I
always wanted to redo. So I was friends with Beckett, her assistant, and she always wanted to redo those movies because she herself didn't like how they came out, and felt similar to you relying on big names and not the story. She did like them, but she wanted to do them better. And that's why
yeah.
she chose to do she said that the best way to get the whole story out is to do a TV series so that you could get it all and you're not like an hour and a half and we have to
Yeah.
get it all in there.
Yeah.
You can
And
tell the
that's
story longer.
when the movies came out, that was before we had like TV series that were all about telling like the stories. And I literally was like, this should be a TV series. So um yeah, so that's cool. I'll keep watching. The guy that plays Lestat is much better at it than Tom Cruise. So
I mean,
but he
Tom Cruise.
right. He reminds me of the actor that plays Dexter,
Ooh, yeah.
Michael. He like the mouth and then the way and the resonance of his voice as well. So
Mhm.
every now and again I got a little bit of Dexter vibes going on there.
But in a good way.
Yeah, I mean Lestat's a narcissist. Like
Yeah.
it's just nasty, but yeah.
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be.
That's why like people that were like in the vampire community, because like that role playing game was like super huge, like the
Mhm.
area that I grew up. So people would like live it. And there was a guy who walked around, called himself Lestat, like very seriously. And I was like, that's not something like knowing anything about that person that you would want to be that person. Like,
No, that's not the vampire I'd pick.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I love Anne Rice. I have all of her works, including her romance works and The Mummy and all of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I always wanted to like the movies so badly.
I
And
was so bummed out. I went to see the first one and I was like, I'm probably not going to like it, but it can't be that bad. I was wrong.
the fact that so before I saw them, I had read the books too and loved them. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do Interview with a Vampire. I did not know how they were going to do it legally and keep to the story
Right.
because of the being stuck in a child's body. And that is a big part of it, of the
Yeah.
book. And they just skipped over most of it, which they kind of had to.
Yeah.
But I feel like nowadays they could do it with like AI and have that aspect of the story and how traumatic that would be to be stuck in a child's body but be hundreds of years old.
Yeah. I don't know like how they're going to because the Claudia story, they do touch on that, but
Mm-hmm.
they have been careful, but I feel like they're setting it up to unfold more later. That's what it
Okay.
seems like. So it doesn't seem like they're skipping over it so much as that they're setting the foundation because they're focused on the fact that this is the interview one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first book. So they're
Yeah.
focused on, they haven't even finished the interview in season 1 yet. So, there will be a lot more to, yeah, I remember reading her Sleeping Beauty series when I was, I want to say about 16. And this should have been a sign that I was asexual because I read it and I thought that the psychology was fascinating. That's it. I just was like, oh, this is really interesting. And the way she describes people's bodies is really unrealistic, but like the psychology of this is really fascinating. And then I gave it to my friends to read because I was like, this book is really interesting. They read it. They did not have the same experience. And several of them are now deeply into BDSM. And they blame me for starting that. So I was like, just
I was kind of in the middle because I can see both sides of that. I definitely felt a lot of things about touching on like consent and things like that. I It took me I did have to put it down a couple of times and pick it back up later. But yeah, I could see both sides of that.
yeah.
But I
I
do
think
like
the part of it that was most titillating to me, like that actually had like a titillating factor, was the having to wait, the anticipation part, because I
mm-hmm.
love that. That's like one of my favorite games. So yeah, but otherwise
We're
the rest
playing
of
the
it was
long game.
right, exactly. But yeah, the rest of it was just, it wasn't, like I have absolutely no issue with BDSM or any of
Mm-hmm.
that. I used to like the music that I listened to, it's commonly found in those clubs. And so I would go to the clubs where they have dungeons and I would hang out and like just kind of watch the art. and stuff that I know for other people is more sexual, but like for me is just kind of like art, like the rope
Mhm.
work and all that. I would love to like be able to do photography for that. I feel like my perspective, because I don't get sucked into it, would be interesting, but it's just not for me. Like, you know,
Mhm.
if I had a partner that it was very important to them, I could probably participate to a certain amount, but there would be like a certain that I would not be able to provide, and would be like, you're gonna have to find somebody who feels this in order for them to like
Yeah.
provide it for you, because I would just be going through the motions for the most part.
Which is nice to be honest about, because I feel like a lot of people force themselves into doing things for their partner that they're not necessarily comfortable with. And that's also unhealthy. And
Yeah.
so there is some give and take. Like there's some like pushing a little bit of you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but there's also a hard limit of I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Yep.
So, which is okay. And that should be able to be open and honest in a relationship.
Yep. I had
Uh,
a partner that wanted me to slap his legs hard enough to leave marks, and it made me cry. I couldn't do it. It was
but
very
that didn't feel
upsetting.
very good to them either. Like,
No. No, as soon as I started crying, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't hurt you. I can't. I have been through so much trauma in my life
yeah,
that the idea of hurting someone else is just, even if they enjoy it, I'm not able to separate it out for myself, you
yeah,
know?
definitely.
So,
And you can, and especially using your hands, like you can feel what you're doing to them. And
yeah.
that's why I never, sorry, controversial topic, but why I could never spank my kids, because I wouldn't want to use any objects that like I couldn't feel what I was doing to them, but I also didn't want to use my hand and feel that I was causing them pain. And I was like,
Right.
why can't I just talk to them?
Right. Well, it shouldn't be controversial, because every single study that's been done on hitting kids has shown that it causes adverse reactions. It literally causes your kids to behave worse,
Mhm.
causes trauma, causes issues later in life.
Well,
There's
and if they're
not been,
not behaving worse, they're only doing it and repressing things. And it doesn't mean
yeah,
that later on in life they're not.
right.
It's just, it's not
It
good either
doesn't
way.
help them learn. It doesn't, it's laziness on the parents' part. And, you know, if somebody gets offended, I'm sorry, but like if you, it takes work to communicate. It takes work to be patient and to put your anger and your ego aside when kids are not listening. And it's easier to hit. It's easier to give in to the anger. So that's why I call it laziness.
Yeah.
So
There's one time that I consider myself having spanked Evelyn. It's not really a spanking. I was more moving her out of the way. But
yeah,
she's, I don't know, have I said this story on here about
I
Evelyn?
don't,
Okay. So I forget what I've already talked about sometimes. So she comes out of the bathroom, and my room at the time was right across from the bathroom. And she comes in and she's like, Mom, the trash can's doing something weird in the bathroom. Says it just like that. This was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I walk in there and she's standing there and the trash can is on fire. I was like, I tried to pick it up to put it in the bathtub and I was like, put the shower on. And the bottom, because it was a plastic trash can, was melted to the floor. So just the sides picked up and like the fire's still on the ground.
Oh my God.
So I take a towel, soak it, and then like drop it on there. And I'm like, what? But when I saw the fire, I like tried to get her out of the bathroom. And so like I hit her trying to push
Yeah.
her out of the bathroom. And so she says that's the one time I spanked her.
I swatted my son once, and it was because he got into this phase when he was like 3 or so, where he thought it was funny to do like the opposite of what we said. And I was telling him not to go in the street because it's dangerous. And so he goes running for the street. And it had happened enough times where I had talked to him and he hadn't listened. So I swatted him. I didn't hit him. It was like going with the motion. And so it
Mm-hmm.
didn't even hurt him at all. He just like stopped and was like, what just happened? And I was like, are you going to listen to me? And then he like was like, okay, and it like reset him. But that's like the closest ever like hitting him I've ever gotten. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't even feel bad because I didn't really like hit
Yeah,
him, and
yeah.
it worked. And after that, he started policing us and being like, "You don't go in the street. It's dangerous."
Mm-hmm.
But the fire thing is funny because like I was a real firebug when I was a kid, and my mom was like, if you're gonna play with fire, don't be a fucking idiot. That was like her like thing, right?
That was my stepdad too with us.
Yeah. So they basically just taught me how to be safe, and so I would play with fire in the bathtub, and I still got in trouble a couple of times or did things that I should have gotten in trouble for, but like for the most part, I was pretty safe about it. But I did have a few mistakes.
I don't think we ever got in trouble for playing with fire because we were taught fire safety from such a young age. We were taught gun safety, fire safety, like water safety.
Yeah.
After I
Well,
almost drowned.
we like burned down a back fence like across the street. The thing is like I did everything they told us to, like we buried it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really knew what happened. Like I think there must have been something smoldering underneath and it, because we were like burning plastic. So yeah. But it made it's like those pixie sticks, those really long ones.
Mm-hmm.
And when you burn them,
they
when
roll.
it goes like that. It
Oh.
makes these cool sounds. So like we went and dug a hole and like buried everything. And then like a an hour later, there was like a big ass fire. And thankfully, like nobody's house got damaged, but that whole back fence in the alleyway got burnt down. And my mom's like, "Do you know anything about that?" And I was like, "No, we weren't even over there."
I've been here the whole time. There's no cameras.
We were at the park. I don't know. Must have been the kids smoking weed over there, like, because that was a popular weed spot. So,
well, that still might have been what it was, and not even what you guys did.
It's true. It's true. It's possible. But I always assume everything's my fault. So
true. Well, I'm gonna tell you it's not. Yeah, we were, because I remember playing with fire quite a bit. And we had lighters. Like my parents never got upset at us for having them. They never assumed we were like smoking. That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Because we weren't, but yeah, we would go down into it's so dangerous. There's this big like field below my mom's house and with a tree, and the tree like went down like this and kind of created a natural fort. So we'd go in there, and there was a bunch of naughty magazines, and we would burn them after we looked at them. And, but yeah, but the field was so dry. Okay, it's California, it's San Diego, and it's a desert, and it's so dry. And I'm like, even if you're being safe, you could still start a fire down there. And it did happen. Not while I was down there. And for years, they told us that it was the homeless person who was living in that tree did it. I found out who it was later, and they never got in trouble. And I bet they listened to this podcast.
What's funny is like, because we did that and I assume that was me that did it, and then but years before that, there was an orchard at the corner before they turned it into a park, and that half of that burnt down, and that was my uncle. So it's like family.
Yeah, pyros, so the whole lot of us. And I always had candles in my room. And
yep, I don't like anymore because I don't like the air quality change from having them, but I used to.
You're dry out there though. Here it's really humid, so it doesn't. I feel like it dries the air out when I have them, and I only have. There's a couple that I like because I can't do the perfumey ones, but so most of mine are unscented. But I do have a couple. That one's cedar.
So the IKEA candles, that they have. I do keep some of their tea lights around, and the scents that they use do not set me off. So I'll get like the apple or the red one, not the strawberry one, but the other red one. And those ones are really nice without me reacting to them.
Well, that's good to know because yeah, I can only do like natural things scenting it and natural things that I don't have an allergy to. So,
Yeah, same. Yeah.
so
That's
usually
like
cedar.
one of my TikTok mutuals got me a for my birthday last year or the is it last year? A oil diffuser.
Mhm.
And I just use like high quality, the oils that I'm not allergic to. I react a little bit to lemon, but I really love the smell of it. So sometimes I do lemon even though I know that I'm gonna get a little stuffy from it. Just because it smells so nice and bright and happy.
Exactly. I do like lemon too. It was what, so when I was pregnant with Logan, I was working at Rubio's. Do you have Rubio's up there? Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have
Not
it
up
here.
here, but down in SoCal. Yeah. I
Yeah.
used to eat there a lot when I was down there.
And I only had morning sickness like in the very beginning with him. And I'd be like, I'll cut up the lemons. I'll cut up the lemons because I just want to. Uh,
Yeah.
and I would drink Sprite all day and just sniff lemons. I
Mm,
understand.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, I like there's some of that stuff I don't know, like once I'm in the RV, if I'll be able to use because humidity is a real issue in
Mhm.
RVs. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put like an water spray into the air. I may just like spritz the oils places and let the smell be there without the diffuser.
Mhm. That makes
But
sense. They make
yeah.
wearable ones. I've been iffy about those though, being against my skin.
Yeah.
They're like stones that you dip or put drops of the oils
Oh
on.
yeah, I've seen like not necklaces, but bracelets that you can
Oh
do
yeah,
that
the
too.
beads. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
both. And yeah, I've thought about that, but I don't know about holding them against my skin.
Yeah, I don't. That was why I never thought about the bracelets because I was like, I don't want it. That's a lot. It's very like strong.
Hmm. Yeah, like other people can do it and it's fine, but having MCAS, I just don't.
Yeah, I know. I react to everything. I react.
Yeah.
It's like I'll be fine for a while, and then I start reacting to stuff. So it's not the repeat exposure would not be worth it.
And people are
Um,
like always are like, well, what is it you're allergic to? And I'm like, what day? Like
yeah, right.
I could
I
be
know.
allergic today to something that I'm fine with next week. So.
I have an appointment tomorrow with the weight loss clinic at Stanford, and like I'm really looking forward to telling them about my relationship with food because yeah, I'm gonna be like, well, I already worked with a dietitian and she couldn't tell me anything that I didn't already know. So
Mhm.
what I'm gonna be looking for from them is not to tell me how to eat, but to do the tests to figure out if like my hormones are out of whack or whatever. Like do the stuff that I can't do myself because the food is I got that down.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to the weight loss clinic too, just because I've gained so much weight since switching my meds. And like the allergy meds and everything are just really notorious for not being able to lose weight.
Yeah. I have
And
PCOS as well, so that's
yeah, yeah,
like
that on
that's
top of it.
I've been managing my diet really strictly since I was like 19 and it's a lot of work and the only time I've ever been able to lose weight is when I get so sick that I can't eat. Like I literally have to starve. And like I tried metformin uh before I got sick. I tried that and I lost a little bit of weight but not enough to be worth how sick the meds made me. And I was on like 1300 calories a day and I was walking 5 miles a day and I was so energy depleted because I wasn't eating enough, and I was still barely losing weight. So it's like the I love the people that are like, oh, losing weight's so easy, it's just physics. I'm like, bitch, it's chemistry.
Yeah, it's not because like right now, most days I'm about that 1300 calories. And I just don't have the energy to do anything because of that. And I don't even know how much of that 1300 calories I'm absorbing.
Right.
Um, and it's just like I have lost some weight being sick, but not as much as you would think from not being able to eat because I'm just because of all the protein drinks too that I've had to drink that doesn't
Yeah.
help. Um, and a lot of the things like the supplements for not eating is sugary. And so your
Yeah.
body absorbs that, but it's not absorbing any of the nutrients. And
Yep. I had
I,
that like when I was on the liquid diet, like dealing with the gastroparesis and the MCAS, like I had smoothies 3 times a day, and it was like bone broth and bananas and like, but there was like so much sugar and I couldn't figure out how to cut the sugar out, and I needed it. I couldn't function without it because like I just wasn't getting what I needed. And even with all of that, I still had malnutrition and my
Mhm.
cholesterol was high because of the sugar. And it was, like my numbers are really good when I do the blood work, but like I've gained like almost 20 pounds since February, which is crazy, and I didn't
Yep.
I didn't change anything except for have surgery. And it's like all my like pictures and stuff are a little bit older, and I'm like afraid to take new ones because I'm afraid people aren't going to like me anymore. And I'm trying really hard to like not care about that because I care about it more than anyone else is going to. And and also the people that care about it a lot are probably not worth having around, but
I was
it's
about to say
still
that.
really hard to turn that off,
It is.
right?
It
Because
is.
I was raised at a time in which being unhealthy skinny was the ideal, and I still, when I see like healthy bodies, I think they're fat bodies because of that. Like my brain is very, very skewed, and I know that, so I tell myself that all the time, but it hasn't become my reality. I literally am always having to tell myself, no, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
so but I'm
It's
I'm
so
mostly
hard.
worried about getting heavy and not being able, like, because I have health issues, I'm afraid of getting really, really heavy and then having more health issues and being able to do even less because of the weight and stuff. Like I want them to help me manage it so that I don't ever get like, if I stayed at the weight I'm at now, I can make peace with it, but I don't want to become like obese, like,
Yeah.
because I don't want the body pain and the additional health issues and stuff like that on top of it. I'm like, please help me control this
That's
because I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And like the last time I went to the doctor, and I've never dealt with this, I was pre-diabetic. And I'm like, I don't know what to do because nothing I can eat is gonna help.
Yeah.
And I don't want to
Yeah.
be diabetic. I've never dealt with that, like anything like that before. And I've always been underweight.
Yeah.
So now being like overweight, I feel like it feels weird. I don't know
I
how to
like,
describe it.
I gained weight in my arms and my belly, which I've always just gained legs. I've never gained weight in the upper part of my body. And I feel like there is something taped onto me. It doesn't feel like my body. It just feels really uncomfortable and weird. And yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and that's the other, I used to do like a paleo diet, which is sort of my preferred, but so much of that food I can't eat now, like what am I supposed to
Yeah.
eat?
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
yeah, it's really difficult. Because I used to be vegan, and so I did the elimination diet for other things for my son, and so I was doing it with him. The whole family was, because I'm not going to cook a bunch of different meals.
right.
So we slowly cut things out until it was like vegan, gluten free, no dyes, no preservatives, nothing, and it didn't help him, but certain aspects of it helped me at the time. But those same things that helped me back then, I couldn't do now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I still tend to like one of my like go-to meals I haven't been able to do because I'm not in my own space, but once I'm in my own space and have my tools, my go-to meals are like stir fries with lots of vegetables, a little bit of meat, and like quinoa or something like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's my normal, like, you know, and I'll be okay with that for a while, and then all of a sudden like I won't be able to eat that vegetable anymore. I'll start reacting to it and get all
Hmm.
bloated, and and then like I have to eat like shitty foods because that's all my body will tolerate, or the stupid autism puts me off of food, and I won't be able to eat it because I get an aversion to it, which is like,
Hmm.
that drives me crazy because I'll get stuff and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to eat this and this is my food plan, and then like halfway into it I have to give it away because I'm not going to be able to eat it for another year. Like, you
Yep.
know, like stupid autism.
It's so true. And because I'll get on those kicks too, which is very common with neurodivergence in general, is getting on the kick of eating the same thing. And then you
Yep.
hate it. And then you hate it.
Yep. I hate it forever.
I
And
used to eat, so when I was really poor, those chimichangas that are not as cheap anymore, but they come in like a box at Walmart and they're like in an orange wrapper. They're chicken and or chicken chimichangas. And I would eat just one of those. And it was like less than $1 for each one. And now, because I ate so many of them, the thought of them makes me like want to vomit.
yeah, I'm there with these like breakfast burritos that I got at Costco. They're actually like no preservative
Mm-hmm.
egg with like different meats. And the I don't like sausage very much to begin with because of the texture. And it finally, like, I got through a couple boxes of them where I was eating them like most days. And then now I can't do anything with that texture. So I got like a pre-made like Snap Kitchen uh ziti, and it ended up they used like that pork sausage.
Mm.
And so last night I was like trying to eat around the meat and just being like, oh, like
I'm usually not that picky. Like there's certain textures that I stay away from, but they're not things people would normally make. So, um, but last night, the dinner that I had, I couldn't keep it in that I didn't like something, and I felt really bad because I didn't make it. like, like I took a bite and like you could see it all over my face that I was like,
yeah. I wish there wasn't so much stigma around not liking stuff, like, because like you can't help it. It's
no.
involuntary. It's not a choice, you know. But it's like I do if someone makes food, if they take the time to cook, and I feel so guilty if I don't like it. And sometimes I'll make myself eat it, but then there's the chance I might throw it up because like the aversion will be that bad. Like my
Yeah,
body will just be like, nope.
they had made Mexican corn. That's what it was, and like I don't like Mexican corn anyway, and it's some sort of spice in it. I don't know what it is. I don't usually like the flavor, but also the combination of like the sour cream with lime juice makes the texture different, and I don't like the texture because it like
Ew.
coagulates it. I don't
I
know. I
don't
don't.
I don't do white creamy stuff at all. Like I don't sour cream, yogurt, like all of that, just the
Mhm.
textures and the smell. So yeah, that would do it for me. I just won't eat it. It's just, nope.
Not that my body digests corn anyway, but
Oh man, yeah, no, there's no corn is I like corn, like, but like it literally hurts to eat it, when I do because it doesn't digest right. It's the same issue I have with seeds and like nuts and
Mhm.
stuff. So my body goes, you just ate rocks.
Yeah, my mom had oh, what's it called? The like pockets in your intestines that kind
Diverticulitis.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it would make her so sick. And I would feel horrible for her. And
Yeah.
it's anytime she had popcorn or seeds of any kind, and
Yep.
I
Yeah.
like
There's
fruit.
like, yeah, the diets for diverticulitis are not. I have a friend who it took her like 2 years to really get good about the diet for that, and so she kept
Mhm.
going to the ER because she would get in pockets, and it's a bummer because she was like 30. It wasn't like because
Yeah.
diverticulitis is kind of considered old person's. By the way, people, this is one of the reasons why you should eat a full fiber, like good fiber diet, is because that will help prevent the formation of those pockets.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
painful. And sometimes you need surgery because it'll get stuck in there and it won't come out. And then it gets infected and then you have to have surgery. So
Yep.
eat fiber.
Yep. Exercise your gut because it's important. Keep the pooper pooping.
Yeah. What was it? Someone sent me an article yesterday that I wanted to bring up about gut health. that was about something I did.
That's
And they
very
were like,
informative.
they're like, hey, you used to do this, and this now is linked to really bad gut health. And I'm like, oh, great. But now I forget what it was. So I will bring it up next time on Frightening Frauen.
Maybe I need to have you on mine to talk about that, because
There
that's
we
more like,
go.
that's more my speed.
We'll do that. You're going to be a whole year ahead on yours.
I know, oh my God, I have so many. Like I was like, I want to keep recording, but then I just have more, and I have like 12 weeks worth.
Yeah. I think if you randomly put out an extra episode in a week, especially if you have like your own and a guest episode in the
Yeah.
same week, I think would go over well.
I'm going to see like how, like once, because right now, like I have all this stuff happening in my life that gives me like content. And then like once I'm settled in, like, and now that I've started putting the RV stuff into videos, so I don't have to put that into the podcast, I'll see how, if I'm still as prolific, because I don't want to commit to like, and I don't
Yeah,
want to change things up too much because I can break the algorithm. But if it
true.
seems pretty regular, because I have started, some of my more recent episodes are actually about things. They're not just about me, they're about
Hmm.
stuff. And so if I can get into that, then, I don't know, we'll see. Right now it's good to have extra, but it may be
That's
that
true.
event.
Maybe just leave it that way and then
I'm going to see how things go. And then if it feels right, I will start posting more often. But it just right now is frustrating because I want to post them all. I don't want to be. I don't know if anybody's listening, but
I'm listening.
you you're listening. My friend in Ireland is listening, and he like messages me on Discord when he listens and says stuff like "you're a dork" and stuff
Oh,
like that.
by the way, we have a Discord and I added the top 4 tiers of my Patreon. But if you're on both of our Patreons, let me know and I will add you. So even if you're at the bottom tier on both of our Patreons together, I will add you in to the Discord chat. So let me know and we can look that up because we'll know. So if you're lying, we'll know. That would only
I
cost
can send you
you.
I can send you my Patreon list, but I'm pretty sure the only overlapping one I have is Alan.
Hi, Ellen. Um, so yeah, if you're on both of ours, the bottom tier of mine is $3. The bottom tier of Lee's is $2.50, I think. And so like for $5.50, you can be in our Discord chat. And we have a bunch of different topics on there and stuff that you can get involved in helping us with content and knowing where we're at with things. And we just made it, so bear with us.
Yeah, it is still being formed. But I keep thinking about it and being like, should I go in there and post on? I don't know. Like, what
Go
should I
for it.
even? Yeah.
Go for it. Post whatever you want. Um, so yeah, just be respectful. And I kind of put little descriptions on each of them of what those rooms are for. And if you want me to add a new room for something specific or a topic or anything, let me know and we can do that. But both of us have, keep pointing the other way. On yours, I was pointing the right way. Um, both of us have God power. So you can talk to either of us and we can add topics. We can do secret chats for people who are in both of our Patreons. And yeah, you can help us. And yeah, so we would love to see you there.
Definitely. That'll be fun to see as it takes shape and the community gets built and all of that. So
Definitely. I'm
it's
thinking
it's
of opening it up to all of my patrons because it's for the Two Crows and as well as Frightening Frauen. Um, right now I have the top 4 tiers are in there, but I might add it to just everybody because I want everyone talking.
Yeah, I have that issue with mine that like I want to share everything with everybody, and I feel like people know what they signed up for, so
That's
they
true.
they're cool with it, but I want to, so I have like sometimes I share stuff with everybody just because I can. I like use my God power and go, I'm going to share with everybody, but then I've been pretty good about the podcast sharing, making sure that's
Yeah.
just with those tiers and stuff like that. And yeah, but sometimes I get excited about the art and I share it with everyone because I'm a little kid and I'm like, look at what I did.
I have
Okay.
stuff. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't even think about it when I put my headphones on, but I'm wearing
Yay.
my candy
They look
corn.
cute. They look cute.
I'm thinking of wearing them in the second hole and then wearing dangly ones in the front one.
Oh, that would be cool. Maybe the bat ones.
Ooh, I have those right over here. Reach them. I can't reach them.
No, you need longer arms.
Let's
You
look at
need
these
tentacle arms.
again. In case anyone missed it, she sent me 2 crows to put in my hair.
Cute.
Well, my hair is too floofy right now.
And if I ever grow my hair out again, I could do that because I have curly hair. So once it's long enough, it just grabs everything.
But I didn't say it. Lee made these and sent them for my birthday.
I made them with polymer clay and paint, acrylic paint and glaze.
And love.
Yep.
And probably
like,
some kind of TV show.
Oh yeah, that I made those watching Outlander.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Which we were just talking. I don't think we talked about on here, but we were texting about.
Yeah. Goddamn plot holes. Rah. So my biggest pet peeve plot hole for that show is that they say that the time travel works randomly, right? So that you don't know, like when somebody goes through how, like where they're going to travel to in time. And so like, that's like a whole thing in the beginning of like, no, well, you can't travel because you don't know like that you're going to go to the same place or whatever as she went, except later on in the show, everybody travels to the same place where she went.
Exactly. They
and
travel
that just
to the same, the time moves the same speed too in both places. And then you're going back to the same time based on how long you were gone.
Yeah. So like everybody she knows can just travel to her conveniently. And like, but there's other time travelers that came from different times that traveled different jumps.
Exactly.
So her people break the rules that they established early on. And the entire show, I can't stop thinking about that.
I couldn't stop thinking about that with what is her name? The one that they ended. Sorry, there's spoiler alerts here. Skip this if you want to watch Outlander.
I'm trying to think. I'm on the last season that was on Netflix. So
no, this is earlier on. So the girl that they ended up running back into on the island,
the redhead.
Yeah, the redhead. So she traveled there later than her, but was there before her. So how did that happen?
So she had her time jump was a shorter, like how was it like 200 years that that Claire traveled?
Yeah.
So what's her face must have traveled like 80 years instead, right? She just had a shorter jump.
No, it would have been longer jump because she traveled after her to a time before her.
All right. So then it would have been like 100 or 220 years or something like that around there. Yeah. So she follows the rules that were stated originally, even though it's still kind of convenient that they landed within the same ballpark. But you know, the stupid boyfriend husband, who I never liked him because he's like borderline abusive. And then he just conveniently travels perfect time to go chasing after his love, who conveniently traveled the perfect time to go chasing after her mom. Just, yeah. And there's lots of little things like that in the show. And I try so hard to just be like, and I'm like, I'm crafting. It's cool. But every now and again, I'm in the middle of crafting. I go at the TV. Like, start yelling at him, just like, that's not right. Dude, are the writers even reading this?
Like, they're not following their own rules. And the fact that it just works, like, it just, like, that she figured it out the first time how it worked.
Yeah.
And then was able to do it again.
Also, like, would it have taken you that long to try to change things?
Right.
It took her she's like, oh, I'm gonna make penicillin. It took her how long to decide to do that? Like, So
Yeah.
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 I think I'm a meddler. I would have started trying to change things way early on.
Hmm. Because you wouldn't know, like the future wouldn't know that you did that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you
I
only
mean,
know when you go back to the future because you were in it and you did it.
exactly. And you know, and like either time travel works where it's a line and you've then changed that, you know, or it breaks off, and either way you're never going to know the difference.
Mhm.
You know, like, so
And
why
you're
not just
going
change it?
forward to a time that you haven't lived in yet, too. So,
Yeah. It's just like I like when her daughter just, I'm just going to go back and I'm not even going to be prepared, and
Mhm.
you know, just yeah. And I was
I'm
like,
gonna be
oh,
homeless now because
yeah, just like
I have
okay
no
then.
money, no nothing. We're all just
Uh,
missing people and
I mean, it's still entertaining, but it's what I call junk food TV.
yeah, yeah.
It's up
And
there with
I
Grey's Anatomy. Like it's just junk food TV.
which Grey's Anatomy I watched because I know an extra in that.
I like I started watching it because I liked the medical stuff. They had like really
Mhm.
crazy medical things in the beginning. And then like I got sucked into the drama. I don't even watch drama stuff, but I got sucked into it. But then after a while, it's like how many really crazy bad things can happen to the same person? Like okay, we're doing this. And then you get to the beginning of a season and you already know some crazy shit's can happen at the end to these people. Like, you know,
Mhm.
and how do they not all have CPTSD? Like
I know, especially after the plane crash.
right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Did you watch Private Practice?
yeah,
I liked Private Practice. I like
I did
her,
too.
that actress. I like her. I think
Yeah.
she should be the main character.
Yeah. I'm glad they
Mer-
brought her back on.
yeah, Meredith is not my faves.
No, definitely not. Um kind of
She's very flat, but not in a good way.
yeah,
Like there's a way that you can be a more dry character and have dimension.
right. Yeah. She's just kind of there, and then they built this world around her, you
Hmm.
know, that has like all the color and stuff. I was sad when like Christina Yang left cuz I
Yeah.
liked her. I like that she's in Killing Eve. Did you see
Yes,
that?
yes, I did.
I
I
love
started
that. I
watching it.
love that show. I love the woman that plays the serial killer. I love her so much.
Hmm.
She's so good. Like she gets so like quirky and excited about what she's doing. And yeah, so I love that show.
I feel like if I was a serial killer, that's how I'd be about it too.
Right? Just confident and quirky. Like I
There was this guy.
also
Enough
just love
said.
that show was written like in a way that like women are people. They're not
Hmm.
it's not written because they're women, because there's shows where they try to be like pro woman or whatever and combat like the bullshit that's out there in media, but
To make a
it's too
caricature of a woman.
yeah. And this is more like they're just women who happen to be doing these things. And but they also wrote it so that the men are secondary characters the way that women are usually secondary characters.
Yep.
And I like that just for like the twist, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good show. I need to finish watching that one. I
Yeah.
was gonna rewatch Hannibal, but now I really realize I need to watch ugh, Vampire Chronicles.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, Hannibal. I gotta rewatch that one of these days.
It's not just,
Like
is it called Interview with the What was it called?
interview interview with the vampire
It is
or
called
a different one.
The show. Is it called
Yeah.
Interview with the Vampire? Okay. I didn't know if it was if it was called like the Vampire Chronicles or not.
I don't I think it's just interview with the vampire. Yeah. I
Okay.
probably wouldn't have realized what it was if it said Vampire Chronicles. I would have ignored it.
That's what the whole series is called
Yeah.
together.
It's true. I just would have thought it was like one of those teeny bopper shows or something. So I
Oh,
wouldn't have.
true.
Yeah. I wouldn't have. I'm not into any of those. I never even could do Buffy. I couldn't do um
I
school
could do
aged.
Buffy. I
I
like
don't, well, I
Buffy.
can't identify with the characters or the socializing or any of that. So it was really hard for me. Like,
I associated myself, or at least wanted to associate myself with characters other people normally wouldn't. I really like Spike, and he's my favorite. And then I really like Drusilla. She's like who everyone hates.
yeah.
um,
I
yeah.
somehow, without watching that show, I actually know what that actress's face looks like. So
Yeah.
I don't,
Well, there
yeah.
you go. She's memorable. But I like that she kind of is like Harley Quinn, but with Spike.
yeah.
And then she breaks off from him and is kind of like Harley Quinn instead of. I just watched Birds of Prey. It was not my favorite, but I liked the premise.
Yeah, I haven't seen those movies. I'm not super into the superhero stuff, so um it's like I've watched a couple of the Batman movies. Some of them were good, some of them weren't. I watched one of the Superman movies, but it's just not, it's too something for me. I don't know. I like
I
some of the
don't.
animated ones, like
Yeah,
the animated the the Flash animated one. I can't remember where he goes into the alternate timeline and Batman's all dark and spoopy and stuff. I liked that one. And I like
yeah.
Teen Titans.
I love. I was about to say Teen Titans is probably the
Yeah,
best
Teen
DC.
Titans. Yeah.
Um, they're probably the Teen Titans is my favorite DC series.
Yeah. There's
Um, but I don't like the live action movies they've been making for a while at all. I wanted to like Birds of Prey just because of the premise of what it is, but I do want to watch the animated series they did of all the villains together, the female villains together,
mhm.
where Harley and Poison Ivy are together, like romantically.
Ah. I feel like the animated ones hold true to the vibe better than the live action. The live actions, they end up kind of making certain aspects like empty, or they romanticize things they shouldn't, or
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I keep having people tell me I should dress up like Harley Quinn, like because I do clown stuff and people are unable to see clown without thinking Harley Quinn. And I'm just like,
They did that to me
no.
too. So I have one costume that I did it for me. Like it wasn't supposed to be a character at all. It was just me dressing up, and it was what I wore to Pride one year, and everyone just said it was Harley Quinn. So I was like, the wig isn't even Harley. Like it's not. It's a rainbow wig.
Yeah.
Um, and then I did do pink and blue, like just one eye pink and one eye blue, one eye purple. I think.
I wonder if I saw that.
You
Did you
probably
ever?
have. I've posted them a few times.
Yeah.
They're from my old account, so I've been posting some of my stuff from my old account to the new one slowly.
Yeah. But that's like people will just see me and be like, "Oh, you're like Harley Quinn." And I'm like, "But it doesn't look the same at all." Like,
Yeah,
but I know it's just the way that people have like really generalized associations and stuff. So
yeah. Or
I just, I'm
they
not,
try to connect it with something you already know.
yeah, because
This
I
one,
think that makes them feel more comfortable when they do that. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
but the
I
wig,
can, it's, it's not, but I can see it more than my stuff. It's closer to it than
yeah,
just because
yeah.
you're being cute and sexy and like there's the two different colors and my stuff's a lot heavier looking usually and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I mean people are going to say what they're going to say. I just not going to dress up like Harley Quinn. I'm sorry, but I
Don't
also don't,
apologize.
yeah, I also just don't feel like I'm not built for it either. It's just you know
The new Harley Quinn, I approve more of people dressing up as than the old Harley Quinn, just because she isn't with the Joker and she is her own person and she's not being abused
yeah,
anymore. And now she's dealing with her CPTSD from the
that's good.
abuse. So that's the premise of the new Harley Quinn and why a lot of people are flocking to her. But there's also a lot of people using that new Harley Quinn and like putting it with the Joker and being like, yeah, that's my
Yeah, they don't get it's like
Taboo.
the Twilight books. People romanticize those, but it was an abusive dynamic. And I was just like I remember the first Twilight book when it came out. I picked it up and was scanning through it at the bookstore, and I was like, this is not healthy like at all. Like,
Mm-mm.
and just put the book down and didn't think about it. And then it like blew up, and I was just like, what are people going through in their day-to-day lives that they are romanticizing a dynamic like this and
And
thinking that that's
it
what
was
they want?
always supposed to be like that too, because it was fan fiction from another book that is also extremely abusive, which people blew up and people were all over as well, which is 50 Shades of Grey.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah, all of it's just like, nope.
no, but
Yeah.
I did like torturing someone with watching all the Twilight movies recently. They had
I,
never
I
they had never seen them, and I was like, fine, we're gonna torture you.
I've only seen the first one, and I watched it at a live Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Weird Al,
Okay, that I would love to see.
and it was still boring.
Oh.
It was still a boring movie. They were funny. The movie
Mhm.
was, they could not make the movie better. And I think they vibed that. I think they were like, Patton Oswalt was there.
Mhm.
Like it was great, but it was kind of like, the vibe was kind of like, what do we,
What do we
what do we
do
do
with
with
this?
this? So many long drawn out stares and,
Well, and her like I can't even do her face thing, but like her mouth thing that she does. What's her name? Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick, I think is her name. She played Jessica in the movie, and which is like a super like subpar like side character. She would have made such a better Bella. Like if she had played Bella, that movie would have been so much better.
Yeah. I don't like, I'm trying to think if I've even seen Kristen Stewart in other stuff.
She was
Like,
just in something that I was that I
like,
watched.
can she act? Because you know how sometimes when a person doesn't act well, it's because of the directing. Like the Star Wars movies that
Mm-hmm.
the five, four, five, six, whatever. I can't remember the orders. The ones that came out like in the 90s that they were not so good. And the actors, they had these phenomenal actors in
One, two,
them.
three. One, two, three.
Yeah. I guess the order they came out in was 4, 5, 6, but they are 1, 2, 3. They have phenomenal actors in it, and they were all like awkward and jilted and like,
Oh yeah. Oh
and it was
yeah.
like at the time we're watching it going, Ewan McGregor was like a
I
huge
suppose
name then. We're like,
yeah.
what is going on?
He's
Like,
a great actor, and he was great
right?
in the show. So he's in the not the Mandalorian. Oh, he is he in the Mandalorian? I'm
Don't
trying to
know.
remember. He's in one of the ones that's in that world with like during that time, and it may be Boba Fett. I don't know. He's in one of those. The Obi-Wan, his own show,
Okay.
Obi-Wan. Okay, so he's in that show. He's also in those other two that crosses over, and he does great in that. So they must have a better director for the
Yeah.
show. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they got him to come back and play that character again and be able to show that he could,
Yeah.
because he did a much better job in that show.
Did you watch his the reality show that he did back in the day, Long Way Round?
Mm-mm.
He rides a motorcycle around the world. And of course it's motorcycles, so of course I watched it. But I don't even like reality TV, but it didn't have the, even though they did the formatting to like draw people into the next episode, they didn't create drama. They just allowed the story to be told, which helps a lot with
Oh my God.
that's but it was really, really well done. It was really enjoyable. Just, like there's at a point where he's just like, I can't, he's like crying, he can't, it's just too much, like, and like his suspension breaks on the bike and like all this stuff. And yeah, it was I was just like, cool.
Now I want to watch that. I didn't even know that existed. So
Yeah, I don't know like how well known it was. It was, I think, because the motorcycle community,
mm-hmm.
it was like, ooh, McGregor did this motorcycle thing, and he did another one where so he went around, and then he did another one where he went up and down. And I didn't watch that one, but he also wrote a book about it.
Okay. I will look into that. I might get the book if I can't find the show.
Yeah.
So that's cool. He's really intelligent and really emotionally intelligent from what I hear.
Yeah.
So, because I know when he was working on Moulin Rouge, I knew some people that worked on that movie, and they all said how amazing he was to work with and how he even settled things. Like when there was tension between people on the set, like he would go and like talk to each of them and be like, this is a job, this is what we're doing. Like, we cannot let this affect what we're doing. And
yeah, I feel like when there's an actor that we never hear about, that they are probably pretty cool and down to earth because we never hear about them.
Yep, I agree. I'm trying to think of some other ones that were like that. Gosh, there was another one that I know like a relative of mine worked with on Planet of the Apes. Who was that guy?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. They said he was actually a pleasure to work with too.
Yeah, I heard he was really down to earth. And I know like he went through like a whole thing with like when he was doing music, and then like he had an injury from like weightlifting. And so then he, back in the day, he actually would like speak out against like getting way too buff because it can cause like serious issues and stuff like that.
That was when it was like really into like roid out and get really buff. We never liked that, guys. We never liked that.
Yeah, that's for the male gaze, not the female gaze.
I don't get it. Like I get just realized, being in shape.
Yeah, just I don't even like gym bodies. I like bodies that look like they move in day-to-day life. So it's like the muscles show up when you use them, but there's not like in excess all the time. And when they're relaxed, they feel relaxed. Like really buff bodies feel strange when you cuddle with them. It doesn't feel natural.
Feels like you're cuddling some warm stones.
Yeah. Like I'm not into the dad bod that's very popular, because the dad bod has a lot of visceral fat on the torso, and that's very unhealthy. But I have no issue with like chub. There's like a difference between having a lot of visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat that's in between your organs. That's what causes you to be predisposed to having like heart disease and all this other stuff, right? So, but a little bit of outer chub is like fine. And a lot of times women are like, "Ooh, I love the dad bod." And what you're seeing, you see the wide torso look, and that's the high visceral fat, which like I just see health issues that as the female would have to take care of later when they catch up to him. And I just go, nope.
Yeah, for me, I more look at women's bodies. So
yeah, I look at everybody, but I really only look at people that other people look like. If someone goes, "Oh, look at this," then I analyze it. Otherwise, I'm pretty oblivious. I don't think too much about it at all until like, unless somebody like flirts with me, and then my brain goes.
And thinking about it right now, though, it's not really their body I'm looking at, though. It's the whole show of what's going on. Because like the lumberjack girl on TikTok that I really like, it's not anything to do with her body shape. It's nothing to do with that. It has to do with what she's doing, how she's doing it, and how confident she is coming across. And like,
so her body could be shaped differently, but if she was doing the same thing, you would have the same reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it would be the same for me. Like if I'm going to notice anybody at all, it's for what they're doing, or, not so much for but I do analyze health. That's like a thing. Like I would think about that, like if I was going to get involved with somebody, male or female, I would be like looking at that and being like, okay, how well do they take care of themselves? Because like, we're all going to have things. It's not about like, if somebody has chronic health issues, that's not going to make me be like, well, I'm not going to be attracted to them. I'm going to want to know what they're doing to take care of it and know that they're taking care of themselves, because I have to work so hard to take care of myself that the last thing I need is someone in my life that doesn't do the same. Like
because knowing you,
I would take care of them.
you would do it for them.
Yeah,
so,
because I can't leave it alone.
Yes. So you would, that makes so much sense, because you wouldn't be able to help yourself. You would do it for them. And
my ex lost 60 pounds when we first met because of me, because I started making like foods for him to take for lunch to work, and I started teaching him about diet and all that stuff, and like you know, and I just did it. It's my love language. And so like, because I know that I do that, I have to select somebody that is going to make it not a lot of work so I can take care of myself too. Because I want to I want to be able to do things for people. There has to be like, and unfortunately, if we're going to make stereotypes about like the genders, men are way less likely to take care of their health issues. They're more likely when they get a diabetes diagnosis or a heart disease diagnosis to refuse to take any of the steps to take care of it. And so they're more likely to have repeat heart attacks, or more likely to have severe diabetes issues and stuff like that, because of, unfortunately, the culture has warped them into feeling entitled to the things that hurt them, you know, and also our culture is just not very good at telling us that the things we do for ourselves are actually because we deserve them. We deserve the good health.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I'm just adamantly like, do not, I would just end up resenting, so mad.
Yeah. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be picky.
Yeah. Nice. I just want to have a good time. Support
Doesn't
somebody
have to be a long
they support
time.
me. Yeah, exactly. I don't care about any of that. I just want to have a good time.
I think that's why I gravitate towards people. So if I'm going to be in like a polyamorous relationship with people, I gravitate towards people who already have a main partner or primary partner, because I don't want to feel like I have to do all that stuff for them, because I will.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. And especially if it's making phone calls for them or trying to get them appointments and get their medications and do all of the stuff I can do, I'm going to do it. And I don't want to have to.
I'm like literally sitting here being like, why are we so compatible? Because I need some of that, not all the time. But then there's
call
like
for
things
you call for me.
Yeah. And then there's things that I could do for you. And like,
you guys, there's wedding bells now up here. Yeah, but for real though, it's a struggle bus.
I've never had people do stuff like that for me. I've always done for other people, but not. It's never been like, my last relationship was the closest thing to that, and he just paid for us to eat places, and you know that was kind of because I didn't
way out.
Yeah, I didn't even get that in my prior relationships. I paid for most things, so you know I did all the caretaking and the paying.
I do too. Actually, now that I think about it, all the dates that I've been on, even like friend dates, I end up paying for everything.
I like feel now that I'm in a position where I cannot pay for stuff. I feel like every time someone's like, "Oh, let's go I'll pay," and I'm just like, "Oh my God, I feel so weird." Like, but I just
try being honest about that with them too, though, and so they can understand like, hey, this isn't my desired thing, and I do appreciate it. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, and most people, because there are only a few people that I actually trust enough to let them pay for stuff. Mostly my female friends. And I learned early on that like guys will say that they're going to pay for stuff as friends, and then like a few weeks later they're like, you owe me. And so I am very reticent to allow like my guy friends to pay for stuff.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. Sadly. So it's most, and they all know I'm very chatty about like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable right now, you know. So
yeah. It was kind of nice. So at the Ren Fair, I ran into somebody. Hi, Tim. He listens. Ran into him at the Ren Fair. He saw me there with my staff. He's like, Tyler. And so we hung out all day I was with a group of people, and he paid for some things Just like we were all kind of paying for mead.
Mhm.
Throughout the day, we're trying to hit all the mead places. I don't think any of us got the least bit tipsy because we were like all sharing one mead
Yeah.
each time.
Just
But
sampling.
he gave me a sticker for the Tortuga twins because we went and saw the Tortuga twins all together, and they liked his tattoo, so they gave him 2 stickers. So he gave me one, and then he paid for some of the meat and stuff, and that was really cool because we were all
That's
doing it.
nice.
So it was,
Yeah, it's different like when you're in a group and kind of like that kind of vibe where you're just
yeah.
sharing in the experience. And
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of group experience, so I can imagine it, but I haven't experienced it.
I've never gone anywhere like that with a group, and it was really fun.
Yeah. I've been like to like Maker's Fair with like 5 or 6 people, and then we just kind of wander around, and then we'll meet up for lunch, and then we wander around and then meet up near the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm going again later this month because my friend bought me tickets, and uh that it'll probably be like he's gonna go with his girlfriend and go do stuff, and then I'll run into them on occasion and be like, "What's up? What'd you see? What's cool?" And then I'll wander off again.
What'd you
You know?
buy?
Yeah. Did you get anything?
That's fun.
What nerdy thing are you going to be into next week?
That's so cool. I just forgot while you said that, and then it dawned on me what that was again. I was like, oh, it's like a craft fair. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's a tech craft fair because there's some stuff, but it's not the only real crafty stuff is the steampunk area.
Okay, that's cool. You'll
Yeah,
have to take pictures and send them to me.
I will.
Hopefully, you find something as cool as Casper,
Right.
like I found at my craft fair I went to.
Well, I don't have a shopping budget, but I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah, you don't have to buy it. Just show me what you
Yeah.
find.
Yep. Maybe a robot ghost.
Yeah, a robot Casper for $1, like Casper was.
I have I have some videos on my YouTube. I'll send you a link to that I've taken at previous Maker Fair because there's like some cool stuff. Like they do like music using Faraday cage, stuff like that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. There was a cool museum that I used to go to, the Children's Museum, but I liked it. Uh, they had a Blue Man Group room where you made music with different things that weren't instruments, and it was
That's
really
really
fun.
cool.
It's like
There's a
ping pong paddles with pipes and
yeah, I would be into that. So the Chabot Space and Science Center in Oakland has a Bill Nye room. Yeah, and it's for kids, but it's all about like climate change and all of this stuff, and it's so much fun. It's very hands-on, and I love it. And it's Bill Nye the Science Guy. Ding,
Bill,
ding, ding,
Bill.
ding, ding.
My science teacher in middle school, I think I have mentioned him already on here, so I'm sorry if I have. But in case he listens to this, because I've been trying to find him, his name was Jim Rowe, and we always called him Jim Rowe, the science bro. And he set the fire alarms off trying to make s'mores on the Bunsen burners.
That's pretty awesome.
I've been trying to find him, and I thought I did once, but it was not him.
I don't even remember the name of the cool science teacher that I told you about, like that threatened my stepdad. I don't.
Oh yes, yes.
I cannot remember his name. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if I could if I could find him if I looked up like teachers from those years
I
or
bet that you could, if the school still exists, I bet they have all the like old yearbooks from the school that they
yeah.
could look up the teacher for you from that year.
I might have did I get a yearbook that year? I think I did. I know I got one from my 9th grade year because the popular girl, the yearbook people, and they cut my head out of everything.
What the fuck?
So I was not, my autism alienated me a lot.
But to
Like,
do that, like that's
yeah,
I want, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back in time and like go and just be the person that I needed at the time for other
right.
people, because
I know.
like I was very isolated as well. I did not have a lot of friends, and people thought I was weird and awkward and did not know what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And the only time I had friends was when I had a boyfriend and had their friends.
Yeah. I couldn't even, I like, and I had the ADHD talking thing. And then like, also like, I think I have the autism talking thing. So like, I would just talk, and the nerds were scared of me. So even though I was into computers, I couldn't even hang out with them because they were scared of me. I literally had to hang out with adult neurodivergent people who at the time I didn't know were neurodivergent, but looking back, duh. And
They might not
and those
even
were
know.
and those were the only people I could really like click with, were like these people in their 20s, you know. So I was like 14 and I would hang out with adults.
Yeah.
Because people my age, I was like 12th grade reading level, 4th grade. And I cut school to go to the library. I didn't cut school to smoke weed. I didn't cut school to do the sexy time. I cut school to go to the library, and the librarian knew me and knew I was truant and wouldn't report me because she had met my mom.
I never cut school in high school except for when I was sick and stayed up. But in high school, I was the opposite. So I was very quiet. I was afraid to say anything because I did do those things. And I knew that if I did those things, people would think I was weird. And so I would just not say anything. And I got really good at being really quiet.
Yeah.
And so guys, for some reason, liked that. And they'd be like, "You're my girlfriend now." And I'd be like, "Oh, I guess I am."
Yeah. I had a few boyfriends like that who just, I don't know if they got curious about me or whatever, but like they'd walk me home from school and then be like, so I guess you're my girlfriend now. And I'm like, I don't, and then 3 days later we would break up. So because I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't even, they would have conversations with me and not understand anything I said. And, and it took me a while to realize that wasn't good attention either. So
that's true. And that took me well, I knew it wasn't good attention. I didn't want it, but I didn't know how to not have it and not be mean, because I was so afraid of coming off as mean because everything I wanted to say was socially unacceptable.
Yeah.
So like I said, didn't say anything. And so I was like super quiet in class, never got like a note sent home for being too talkative in class. The only time I was when there was a subject that was preferred of mine that I would just word vomit and like teach the class.
Yeah.
Which happened more than a few times. But my favorite time was when we were talking about Vlad the Impaler. And I was like, I know everything.
That's, yeah, I got really into like when we were dissecting stuff. So I did it like 3D, like I pushed it up on the pins and like did all this, and that teacher didn't like me. So I didn't get a good grade, even though I did really good work, because he just didn't like me. And my mom called and threatened him, and I got a better grade. But because that was like one of those, I just told her, I was like, the teacher, I walk into class and he tells the class I do drugs because I have blue hair, and it's not fair because I got a bad grade. And she was like, what? Like, and yeah, I have a friend that lives here, and we met when our kids were in school. So we met as like parents at a school event, and we clicked, and we've stayed friends since then. But we're about the same age, and we were doing the same things in school, but in different cities. And it's like, we could have been like the best friends doing the weird stuff together, but we were like, 50 miles apart. And it's interesting to like kind of talk about that and think about like what it would have been like if we'd met each other like back then.
True. That's the hard thing. There's people I've become friends with now that went to my high school that we never interacted at all too. And I'm like, I wish that we would have, because we both felt the same way. Like we both felt like we didn't fit in. Like we both felt like we couldn't say anything, especially in the school that we went to, because it was a lot of those people had been going to the same school since kindergarten. It was a fundamentalist Baptist school.
Yeah.
And very small class sizes, so very tight knit little groups of people. And we both felt, or the person I'm thinking of, we both felt like we didn't fit in, and like we had friends because we were in activities, but they were really just teammates or whatever. They weren't really friends or anyone we were like deep in friendship with.
Yeah.
I recall one friend that is definitely also neurodivergent that went to school with me, that we were friends, and I wish we still were, but I think she's afraid to be my friend because I found out that she dated my ex-boyfriend. And then when I married him, she unfriended me on everything,
Yeah.
even though they dated in high school.
That's weird. That's
I'm like, I'm
who
not
cares?
mad at you.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one friend that I've known since 4th grade, and they during our teen years, they felt very jealous of me, but they never said that. We never had a conversation. They just went and slept with like all of my friends, and then would like become like really aggressively like, oh, but you like her more than me kind of thing, which is what made me realize. But then they were like also telling come here, kitty, telling like lies. And so I stopped talking to them after a while because of that stage teenager drama shit, right? And then we ran into each other like a decade later in San Diego, of all places, like 600 miles away. And then we sort of reconnected, and they ended up meeting their spouse through me, and they've been married for ever since then. I don't know, it's been like 15 years or 10 years. They've been together 15 years. They got married in 2013, and stuff like that. But I don't, because of the trust breaking in the teen years and the fact that they never came back to me and said, hey, I know I did that stuff, I'm sorry. I've always kept them at like this length where I'm really careful. And also, like, when I've had get-togethers, I would invite them to the get-togethers, and they would dominate the get-togethers, and then kind of like act like they knew me better than everybody else, and be a little bit possessive. And so I kind of like just went,
You
but
see
that's
some
like
of the same behavior again.
yeah. So I just I don't really know what to do with that. So I kind of keep my distance, where I talk to them online sometimes, but I don't really, and they'll be like, oh, you're so important to me. And I'm like, thank you. I don't trust you. So I don't know what that's based on.
It must be some sort of attachment disorder type thing going on there that they need to work out. And I don't think they probably realize they do it. Which is probably why they haven't apologized. It's probably because they don't even realize what they're doing. And you're probably not the only one they do it to. So
yeah, definitely not. I'd say like some of the stuff, the issues that hurt their spouse has, or they have in their marriage, are suggestive of that. I have a kitty on my lap.
Hey, Mosh. I
hit my head on the sorry.
Oh, no. I bet that even if they heard us talking about them in this podcast, they probably wouldn't even realize it's them.
Probably, yeah, it's very likely. So, and there are aspects of them that I really appreciate. I just wish that like
that one thing.
I just prefer like a more authentic, open connection with people. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think we've been on here for like 3 hours again.
Oops. We need to do this more often so that we can like get it out of our systems.
I was thinking I'm probably going to set up like 2 specific days a week for podcasting that I'll do like half the day researching and half the day recording.
Yeah.
And then we can figure that. I mean, the appointments make it so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, after those are all done and I'm only going to regular appointments, that'll be easier. But next week I'll get you my schedule, and then I need to get a hold of our guests that are going to be coming on and schedule with them, because we have a few really cool ones that want to come on. So
that'll be fun.
We might have to split this one up into 2 again.
That's fine. It's not a problem.
But again, you all, thank you for joining us on Frightening Frauen.
Look out for tree squids.
Look out for tree squid. And if anyone wants to make us some fan art of a tree squid, we can put that shit on a t-shirt.
Right.
Or a mug.
Yep.
And I'll post our Patreons in the description, as well as Lee's GoFundMe if it's still up at the time.
It is.
We're getting close, but there's still so much to go. And I want to thank everyone who has contributed to that. It'll continue to be posted on our episodes as they come out until things are met. So that would be awesome. But if you want to contribute in a way that you get something back, joining the Patreon, Lee's Patreon is a way to help. Buying from Lee's shop. Lee has lots of cool things and doesn't want to have to store them all, so please buy them all. She wanted to make more, but she's been making so much lately that she needs to store it because she wanted to have a bunch of items, but there's nowhere to put it. So buy it.
Yep. Exactly. Buy so I can make.
And to contribute to the podcast here, my Patreon will be there as well. Every tier helps, even the smallest one, and you will get episodes early, the audio episodes early, no matter which tier you're in on mine.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping. Do you have anything? Oh, and watch Lee or listen to Lee's podcast on Leno's, and we will post that. I think we have that in a lot of places.
I post on most of the places that you can find Two Crows, as well as YouTube, and then on my Patreon, I post both this, the Frightening Frauen, and mine ad-free on the same schedule. Everything's posted, so it's not early, but it is ad-free. So that way, if you don't have a subscription to like YouTube Red or whatever, you don't have to deal with the ads.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, if you're on the Patreons, you'll get episodes ad-free. You don't have to wait through portions of the episode.
Yeah.
The video, I have not figured out how to post that early, but if you want to pay $75 a month for me to have Vimeo, you don't have to do that. But yeah, so if I have more patrons, I'll be able to have Vimeo as well and be able to justify that. And yeah, so that's all our money talk. But you just listening and watching in all the places helps us, and helps us be able to hopefully get some sponsors and affiliates, and that'll keep us running here.
Yep. Love you. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
All right. Let me stop.